The rain lashed against the windows of the rundown hotel with a brutal, relentless violence. It felt as though it was trying to erase the building from the face of the earth. Arthur tossed his wet coat onto a chair. It had been a wretched day. His car had broken down on the highway. His phone was dead, and this godforsaken town had welcomed him with a solid wall of torrential rain. When he was checking in, the young girl at the front desk had trembling hands. Her eyes darted nervously. She coughed quietly and spoke in a hushed, terrified whisper. "We have a suite on the 4th floor, room 404, but cash only, up front, and please, return the key directly to me in the morning, okay?" Arthur merely nodded. He was too exhausted to care. As he reached room 404, he noticed a strange detail carved deep into the heavy oak door. A reversed triangle with 3 dots inside. The wood shavings around it looked fresh, still clinging to the edges. "Local teenagers," Arthur muttered, turning the key. If only he knew. If only he had known that just an hour ago, the hotel manager, pale as a corpse, was screaming at that very girl in the back room. "What have you done, you idiot? Room 404 is reserved tonight. The mark is already on the door. They will kill us both if the client isn't there." But the girl had only clutched the wad of cash tighter in her pocket. She convinced herself that the other guest was simply running late. But the other guest didn't make it. He had been intercepted miles outside the town. The problem was, no one bothered to tell the executioner. And to the executioner, the mark on the door was a green light. Inside the room, it smelled of old wood and dampness. Arthur took a hot shower, cleared his head, and collapsed onto the bed. The TV wasn't working. It emitted nothing but a low, rhythmic white noise. Under that monotonous, hissing sound, Arthur began to drift into a heavy, dreamless sleep. Click. The lock turned. Arthur opened his eyes slightly. In his half-asleep state, he figured it was just the maid bringing extra towels. But then, a cold draft rushed into the room from the corridor. It carried a stench of wet fur and something chemical, like formalin. "Hey, who's there?" Arthur rasped, propping himself up on his elbows. The silhouette in the doorway was massive. A man in a long, waterproof slicker. A thick leather mask covered his entire face, save for his eyes. Something gleamed dully in his hand. It wasn't a knife. It was a heavy, surgical instrument. "You've got the wrong room," Arthur managed to whisper. The stranger didn't utter a single word. The true horror of that moment lay in the absolute, bone-chilling silence and the professional precision of the intruder. He wasn't angry. He wasn't sadistic. He was just doing a job. Arthur tried to spring out of bed, but a heavy boot slammed into his chest. It pinned him back into the mattress with a sickening crack of ribs. Arthur threw his hands up in a desperate attempt to defend himself, but the cold steel sliced effortlessly through his tendons. His scream caught in his throat. The killer's free hand clamped a cloth over his mouth, reeking of sickeningly sweet ether. Arthur's body went limp, paralyzed by terror and chemicals, but his mind was still screaming. He stared into the blank, glassy eyes behind the leather mask. There was no recognition in them, only indifference. "Why? Who is this? Is it because of my debts? A dispute from years ago? Who am I to him?" The thoughts raced frantically through Arthur's fading brain. The killer, meanwhile, pulled a folded piece of paper from his pocket. A photograph. He clicked on a small flashlight, shining it directly onto Arthur's face, then onto the photo. For a second, the executioner froze. The photograph showed a heavy-set, balding man with deep scars on his cheek. Looking back at him from the mattress was the young, slender face of Arthur. A mistake. The room had been given to the wrong man. Arthur caught that brief hesitation, a A faint spark of hope flared in his chest. He realizes he's going to leave. He's going to call an ambulance. The killer slowly clicked the flashlight off. Mistakes happen, but witnesses cannot remain. To his employers, a body in the room with the mark meant a contract fulfilled. The details? The details didn't matter. The cleaner leaned down lower, and Arthur could hear his low, raspy breathing through the leather mask. The last thing Arthur remembered before the darkness consumed him completely was the silent, steady motion of the blade moving toward his throat, and the absolute, crushing realization. He was dying simply because he turned a key in the wrong door. The next morning, the rain stopped. The sun brightly illuminated the facade of the Overlook Hotel. Lisa, the maid, was humming a tune as she pushed her laundry cart up to the 4th floor. She needed to retrieve the key from the guest before the manager arrived. She approached room 404. The door was slightly ajar. "Sir, are you checking out?" she asked, peering inside. The room smelled of morning freshness and iron. A thick, dark crimson trail dragged across the pristine white carpet. On the bed lay a shape, covered by a sheet through which a massive red stain was slowly blooming. And there, on the bedside table, lay the exact pile of cash Lisa had taken the night before. Resting on top of the money was a piece of wood, neatly carved out of the door, a reversed triangle with 3 dots, and a polite note written in black marker. "Keep the change for your trouble.